Welcome back to our Vancouver Blizzard draft-only franchise here on NBA 2K25. Today we finish Season 2 of our draft-only experiments. We'll find out any awards we might win, and we'll figure out who becomes the NBA champion here in the second season of the series. We've got one more game left, and we'll simulate that here today. We're pretty much locked into our lottery odds, so this game has really no impact for us. We end up picking up the W. Luka Doncic, back-to-back MVP for him. Pretty much the automatic MVP in 2K for the last several iterations of the game. Ayrton Saramago wins Rookie of the Year. 23 points per game when it was all said and done. 7 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and about a stock and a half a game. Shot 46% from the field, 35% from three, and those mid-70s on the free throws, which you got a decent amount of. Josh Hart wins 6th Man of the Year, averaging 10.7 boards off the bench, 4.5 assists, stock and a half, and 8 points on 50% shooting. Victor Wembanyama, I think this is going to be almost an automatic defensive player of the year at this point in 2K. 11.5 rebounds, 2.8 blocks, and 1.8 steal are some gaudy defensive numbers. Most improved player goes to Alexander Sarr for the Washington Wizards, of course, taken very highly in this most recent draft. Efficiency-wise, still not there for him, but a really impactful defender with those 2 blocks and 1 steal a game. Kia Clutch Player of the Year goes to Zion. I just think we didn't win enough games down the stretch for Saramago to keep that lead. Of course, we previewed that Saramago at one point did have the lead for this award, but didn't end up winning it. Jason Kidd at 62-20 ends up with the Coach of the Year, and the Mavericks also get Executive of the Year. I would have given it to the Rockets for the big trade they made personally, and they'll end up with a very good record. We got a couple of injuries for our first team All-NBA players. SGA and Giannis both injured. We've seen Luka's stats. Let's quickly go through these other guys' stats here. Giannis, an absolute beast. 57% from the field this year is crazy. 27, 10, and 8.5 for Jokic on excellent numbers. We know Wemby's stats. 32, 6, and 7 on, once again, great efficiency for SGA. Now to the second team. We got not quite as big of a scoring year for Anthony Edwards, who averaged nearly 39 points a game last year, but he was more efficient this year, shooting up to 42% from 3 is kind of insane. 29 and 11 for Halliburton. We've got LaMelo Ball, 27, 5, 7.5, shooting over 50% from the field. He's become a very good player. 24, 6, and 8 for Morant. 21, 11, and 3 for Anthony Davis, but those 2.7 blocks per game are a high point for him. Jason Tatum headlines the third team All-NBA, 29, 7, and 3. We've got Zion, your Clutch Player of the Year. Bam Adebayo, stat sheet stuffer. Evan Mobley, and Joel Embiid. You definitely feel like this third team All-NBA has some stat lines that I feel like you could, I mean, Jason Tatum's are insane, but these other guys, I feel like there's an opening for one of our rookies, probably Saramago, as soon as next year. Don't know if we'll get it next year, but next year I think is where the conversation starts. Defensive first team. You have some guys that we've already seen on the All-NBA, as well as Asar Thompson and Walker Kessler, who are very impactful defenders. And then on the second team, you have Mobley, Bam, you have Chet Holmgren on this list. You have Nick Claxton on this list. You have Mitchell Robinson on this list. All rookie first team. We've got 2 Vancouver Blizzard, of course. The top 3 picks in the class are all there. You got Nate Moore and Arthur Mann as well. Then you have Mac O'Neal. Interested to see what Mac O'Neal did. Wasn't super efficient this year. Knew it was going to be more of a struggle in year 1 for Mac, but I'm excited to see how he develops. But 10 points a game isn't terrible for him to start, especially because I'm sure he did not start And there you have it. There are the awards for this second season. Taking a look here at the standings, we have Houston and Dallas, who are the two best teams in basketball this year in the regular season, at those 1 and 2 spots. For the East, playing is Detroit, Orlando, Cleveland, and Miami. And out in the West, the Thunder, the Sonics, the Warriors, and the Nuggets sitting at the 10th seed, not where they want to be with Jokic on the squad. Let's see how these playoffs shake out. We might even hop into a couple of game 7s if there are any really high leverage games throughout the playoffs. We've got our first hop in opportunity here. Basically, the criteria I'm going to use for hopping into other playoff series, if it's a game 7 and it's close on the final 3 minutes, we're of course inside final 3 just a little bit in this case, I want to hop in and see how these games play out. And the Sacramento Kings and Dallas Mavericks are playing for a spot in the Western Conference Finals against the Houston Rockets. So let's go ahead and see how this one plays out. I'm excited to see if the back-to-back MVP can get his team back to the conference finals, or if the Kings will reign supreme here. Looks like De'Aaron Fox dealing with a minor injury here. Running some pick and roll with Sabonis. Luka on the defense. And sneaks by him, and with the left able to get the go-ahead basket. 2 minutes left. Almost a steal there, but instead Kyrie a clear path to the baskets. We're tied back up. Rui trying to get a massive defensive play. Just a little bit late on that steal attempt. Hashimura in the post, guarded by Kyrie here. Blows right by him. Easy finish at the basket. Sacramento retakes a 2-point lead. So far, both teams generating some nice, clean looks on the interior. Luka out to Kyrie for 3 and the lead, but it's off. Sacramento has a chance to take a 2-possession lead here if they can get a score. De'Aaron, pull up 3 off the Sabonis screen. It's no good. Lively with the board. That would have been a massive turn of events for the Kings. Instead, Jalen Johnson dishes it to Luka. Gets by De'Aaron Fox, and we're tied again. 109. Jalen Johnson with the assist, and the home crowd for Dallas is pumped up. Excellent competition here. Both of these teams looking like well-oiled machines. De'Aaron Fox, another chance from beyond the arc, but he missed again. Luka to Lively for the lead, and it's no good. Just enough pressure from the Kings defense to force the miss. Fox in high volume here, gets Luka to bite on the pump fake. And he's been much better when he's been attacking rather than shooting the outside shot. Maybe that knee bothering his 3-pointer just a bit. And with 29.6 remaining, Dallas calls timeout. Dallas has not led in these final 2.5 minutes that we've been watching. Either a tie or a Sacramento lead all the way. The lead's never been more than 2 points either. Very competitive down the stretch. Let's see how it plays out. Luka with the top of the key. He attacks immediately, pulls up from the mid-range, gets it to go. The 2 superstar point guards going after each other here in the final moments. Sacramento can pretty much hold for the last shot here or play for overtime. You don't want to give Dallas a chance to rebound and miss and potentially take a lead here. You want to run things down all the way. De'Aaron Fox from the mid-range, off the mark. Dallas is going to overtime here with the Kings. A jumper for De'Aaron Fox just not working here. 0 for 3 on his jumpers, and those were pretty much the only misses for Sacramento in this period. Because I want to keep these relatively short, we're not going to watch the entire overtime here, but if it's still close, we'll say 2.5 minutes. We can jump back in here. But what a game 7 here. Neither team willing to give up with the Western Conference Finals on the line here. 2.5 minutes. We've got a 5 points. More like 2 minutes now, but we got a 5 points Dallas lead. Can Sacramento come back? Or are the Mavericks headed to the Western Conference Finals to face off against the Rockets? Ellis with it. Shot clock winding down. They're wasting a lot of clock on this possession. End up with a De'Aaron Fox layup miss. That might be all she wrote. You took the entire shot clock, couldn't get the baskets. Luckily for them, though, the Mavericks did not waste any shot clock on that possession. Murray headed to the free throw line. 1.5 minutes remain. First free throw falls for Murray. Second free throw up and in as well, both right down the barrel. And it's a 1 possession game. Sacramento looking for a stop. Luka, step back, gets the foul and gets the basket on top of it. Doncic has been incredible here in the minutes that we've watched, trying to put this team on his back to get them advanced here in the postseason, showing you why he has been a 2-time back-to-back MVP here in the series. Sacramento needs a basket, and they need one quickly here. Go pick and roll with Sabonis. Step back 3 for Fox. Jumper has not been falling, and that will remain the case. Ultimately, I think that's going to be the difference in this game. De'Aaron Fox just couldn't get that jumper to go. Had a little something with his knee, and it looked like it just bothered him enough to alter. And of course, Luka, I think, seals the deal there, making it an 8-point Dallas lead under a minute. The Mavericks will advance 131 to 121 here. A 38-point triple-double for Luka in the win. De'Aaron Fox, I mean, it seems like all of his misses were ones that we watched. He was actually shooting it pretty well before we hopped in to this game. 21 and 13 and 7 for Sabonis in the loss. Dallas once again finds themselves in a Game 7 situation, this time against the Houston Rockets. 108-107, 2:21 remains in this ball game. Can Luka pull it off again in Game 7? Or will the Rockets' big-time trade pull off, resulting in them making the finals in their first season together? No Jabari Smith on the court for the Rockets. Not sure if that's foul trouble or injury. Devin Booker takes the off-the-dribble 3 and misses it. He had plenty of time. Don't know why he needed to take a leaner there. Just pull up confidently, straight up, and you'd have had an easy 3 instead. Dallas with a chance to take the lead, but Tari Eason with the block from behind. Excellent defense there. Booker with it. Defended by Irving. He gets the screen. Pulls up for 3 again. Same shot as last time. Different results. Rattles around the rim and ultimately falls in for Devin Booker. I apologize if you hear the airplanes above my head right now. Irving. Step back. Won't pull the trigger. Devin Booker, a nice job staying home defensively. Irving. To Schroeder, who gets fouled by Amen Thompson. Absolute bailout by Thompson. Why is Luka not playing? Did something happen to Luka Doncic? He's still not out there. If you lose to the Mavericks without Luka, that'd be pretty embarrassing for Houston here. Luka is the Mavericks. Still got Kyrie Irving, who is, of course, an excellent player. But Kyrie Irving alone shouldn't be able to compete with this Houston team. Jabari Smith, excellent look at the basket, but he missed it. Now Irving going against Kevin Durant, ties this game up with a minute remaining. Shepard, top of the key, defended by Schroeder. Kevin Durant, wide open three. That's up and down the barrel. 29 points for Kevin Durant in game 7. Houston leads by 3, 52 seconds left. Irving, defended by Booker. We'll wait the Jalen Johnson screen. On the roll, Jalen Johnson missed the baskets. Jabari Smith Jr. with a nice contest. In transition, Booker gets doubled. Out to Durant. Back to Booker for the mid-range jumper. It's a 5-point Houston lead. Down to 30 seconds. Dallas calls timeout. I want to take this timeout to see what's happened with Luka here. So Luka's played 17 minutes. He got injured in this game. Already had 12, 5, and 5 through 17 minutes. That's a heartbreaker for Dallas. So the reason it got to 7 is because Luka was healthy for this series. It's just terrible time to go out. But Kyrie Irving has been excellent here in game 7 in his absence. Trying to get this last minute comeback against this vaunted Rockets team. Irving, top of the key, gets a screen from Lively, pulls up for a deep triple, but a little too much on it. And now we're in a fouling situation here. I think if we hit 2 for 2 free throws, that's pretty much going to wrap up the game, making it 3 possessions. Şengün drills the first. Şengün drills the second. That's a 7-point lead, and that pretty much secures Houston's spots in the NBA Finals. For the Rockets, Kevin Durant drops 30, 27 from Booker. Şengün, not super efficient, but 17 on the board for him in this one. And there you have it. Houston made the aggressive move, and they're headed to the finals, but still Luka Doncic is going to be your Western Conference Finals MVP. 2K is madly in love with Luka Doncic. I'll just say that. Tyrese Halliburton is your Eastern Conference Finals MVP. 14 assists and 32.5 points a game is absolutely wild. Let's see who comes out victorious in these NBA Finals. Houston takes the first 2 games. Pacers come back. 3-1 Rockets lead. And Houston turns the big trade into a championship. I think anybody mad at Houston not getting enough value has to give in to the fact that Houston won the championship off that trade, making it an objectively great trade for the Rockets. Devin Booker, 30 points, 8 assists a game in the finals, is your finals MVP. What a run by Houston here. Dallas is the only one that gave them trouble. Otherwise, 5 games, 5 games, 5 games. They and Dallas, I think, all season long were the best teams in basketball. Dallas nearly lost to Sacramento, but I think this Dallas-Houston series was probably like the real finals of this season. I think whoever came out of this series was likely to be Indiana in the finals. Retirements, JaVale McGee, one of our players, down, but not nearly as illustrious of a class as we had last time out. Seth Curry also calls it quits after riding the bench with us all year. All three of our mentors retire, so we're going to have to get a clean slate of mentors ahead of this next season. Greg Popovich, now there's a big-time retirement. He decides to call it quits. Won one more championship with Wemby back last year, but didn't want to do anymore. And then we have no changes coming to the league here with our league meetings. And that brings us to the end of this episode here. Much like last year, I want to stream the draft lottery. Don't have the number 1 odds this year, but we do have the number 4 lottery odds in the draft. So I want to see where that pick remains. And then after that, we will do our final draft preview in that stream, getting all the way up to the draft. And then, of course, after that, we will have our off-season episode and figure out who will be the next batch of Vancouver Blizzard that will help this team advance here in the franchise. So, last thing to do here is take a look at where we were at final stats for the season for our own squad. And Saramago leads us in scoring with 23 points a game. Already saw his stats here, but an excellent rookie season for Ayrton Saramago, and one that I am excited to see him build off of ahead of his second season. Also very encouraging season for Cameron McKnight, who averaged 21.5 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Really similar steals and blocks categories here. His efficiency was a little bit worse, and that's just because he didn't shoot the 3 ball nearly as well as I thought he would. He was actually worse at shooting the 3 than Saramago this year. I think that's probably a case of him having to take more of them off the dribble than I think we ideally would want him to. Also worth noting, Saramago started all 82 games for us, absolute workhorse, as did Lonzo Ball, surprisingly enough. Jalen Duren after that, 13.7, 10.5 rebounds a game. Highlighted the decision we have to make with him this year, but I think he, despite the fact that he was lower by a point a game, I think his increased efficiency was helpful for us. But Lonzo Ball, 12 points, 6 assists, 4.5 rebounds, 1.7 steals, was better efficiency-wise than last year, very easily. I think last year, if that kind of continued, I don't know if he's somebody that we look at to keep for the long term, but 41% from the field with 38% from 3 with 6 assists a game is certainly somebody that I'm willing to keep around for the foreseeable future. Isaiah Joe led us in bench scoring with 9.2 points per game. He ended up shooting 38.8% from the field. His field goals is pretty low, but that's because most of his shots are threes, which is fine. Max Christie, I thought, did well in his first full year of action. 8 points per game on 46% from the field, 38% from 3. All that for a guy who was like 74 overall to start. He's up to 76 now. I think that's really reasonable. Started 9 games for us. Josh Green, low volume, but solid efficiency. It went down over the year, but I think 46% from the field, a 40% shooter from 3. As long as he can play solid defense, he can be, a 5th starter. 5th starter you don't need high volume from, as long as they can be efficient with their looks. Leonard Miller, 6.5 points per game, 3.5 rebounds and an assist. Shooting 39% from the field, 30% from 3. Just not quite what we want. I don't know if backup power forward is going to be high enough of a priority this offseason, though, for him to lose that job. But definitely if he has another year like this next year, I could see us looking for a replacement at backup power forward. And who knows, it could even happen this year. I don't know if this is the best draft for it, but if we have the opportunity, I'm not opposed to it. Zeke Naji got that field goal percentage up to 40, which is solid. He got that 3-point up to 27%. Still don't know if I want somebody taking half their shots as threes when you're shooting under 30%, but it is what it is. KJ Martin only averaged 3 points per game, had the fewest minutes, only 14 a game, but was good from the field, not quite as good from 3. for sure. Doesn't take a ton of them, which is why he can still have that high field goal percentage. He's another guy I'm kind of non-committal whether or not he'll play minutes for us. I don't think he does poorly by any means. When he shoots, he does it well at 52%. He just doesn't do much. I don't know if he's a good enough defender to call him like a defender. So take a look here. B- from the perimeter, C- in the post. Not great by any means. Not inspired by a lot of our bench. I feel like Christie and Joe, our backcourt on the bench, was our best bench guys, but we'll have to see what we can do. In terms of draft picks, we have our top 4 lottery odds, which I was just talking about. We also have 2 high second-round picks. We have our own second-round pick. We have Washington's second-round pick. Probably going to package those for a pick in the first round, but who knows? Maybe I like somebody that's projected to be available in the second. We can get 3 rookies this year. Probably looking more like 2, hopefully a starting caliber player at 4, and then a good quality backup with those 2 seconds that we have. That's all I've got here for the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back soon with a lottery stream. Hope you're as excited as I am, because I am very excited for that one. Until then, bring the Blizzard.